Hello, language and life-loving friends, and welcome to Creative Teaching and Learning Ideas with Patrick and Gable. I'm Patrick, and this is Master Gable. How are you today? We hope that you are doing amazingly well. Today's topic is part 2 of adverb positions and placement. This time we describe adverb positions with adjectives and other adverbs. But first, before we start, Bubbles here wanted to say hi. You may have met him before in one of our previous videos when we introduced him, but in case you haven't, here he is again. He just wanted to stop in and contribute to our video. Plus, he'll be in some of the example sentences today that you'll see in just a bit. Oh, hello, thank you. Today then, first I will briefly review the content of our previous video on basic adverb functions and general positions in sentences. And then second, I'll introduce today's main topic, which is the placement of adverbs when adding information to adjectives or other adverbs. And then finally, 3, just to see if you've been meticulously paying attention, Mr. Gable and I will give you a fun-filled and fascinating quiz. So please watch to the end so you can take that quiz. Okay? So, shall we begin?
No!
Why?
Well, don't you think it would be fun to do some exercises for our brain?
Oh, it's a wonderful idea. We need to exercise the brain to stimulate it so that we can take in this information in a much more enhanced way. So let's go down and do some exercises. All right, so we'll be brief. I will do 3 jumping jacks followed by 5, and then we'll finish with 3, and then we'll do a little breath meditation as well. Let's get started. 1, 2, 3, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Good. And then inhale, hold it, and slow release. Inhale, hold it, and slow release. And the last one with a big heart. Inhale, hold it, and slow release. Now, let's begin with our adverbs. So now are you ready?
Yep, I sure am.
Great, okay. So in our last video on adverbs, we learned and looked at definitions and functions of adverbs. So we learned that adverbs give more information to verbs, adjectives, other adverbs, and adverb phrases. In short, they clarify words and enhance the sentences and the content, okay? Adverbs tell the reader or the listener when, where, how often, or how someone does something, or how something happens, okay? The general placement of adverbs is at the beginning of a sentence, in the middle, or more specifically, before or sometimes after the main verb, and at the end of the sentence. Here are some examples of each position, and we'll use Gable and Mr. Bubbles in our examples. Recently, Gable made friends with Bubbles, which is true. Gable recently made friends with Bubbles, and Gable made friends with Bubbles recently. So there we have examples of the adverb being at the beginning of the sentence, kind of in the middle, and at the end, okay? We also looked at where adverbs go in sentences with the be verb, auxiliaries, and modals, okay? We saw that the adverb goes between the be verb, the auxiliary, or the modals, and the main verb. For example, Gable is currently teaching Bubbles how to play kitty pinball, okay? So there it's after the be verb. Bubbles had quickly learned how to play with Gable, okay? And there it's between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. And then the last one, Gable will frequently keep an eye on Bubbles, so after the modal, okay? So today, let's look at what the adverb position is for describing adjectives and other adverbs. So first, let's look at adverbs describing adjectives, okay? The function. So what is the function of these adverbs here? Basically, it's to heighten the clarity and effect of the adjective, okay? Placement-wise, it's real easy. The adverb is placed directly in front of or before the adjective it describes. And here are some examples. Today's weather is certainly hot. The weather report was definitely inaccurate. Tonight's sunset is unbelievably gorgeous. Okay? And then let's get some more examples here of Bubbles and Gable. Gable is very gentle with his younger brother Bubbles. Gable is entirely correct regarding his insights about dogs. Bubbles is extremely kind to Gable. Okay? And here are some adverbs that commonly describe or enhance or intensify adjectives. Some of these we've seen in the examples above, and these are just ones that you're going to see quite frequently. Okay? Quite, really, so, to, very, amazingly, certainly, completely, definitely, entirely, especially, extremely, unbelievably, unusually, and vastly. Okay? All right, next, let's look at adverb placement that describe other adverbs. Okay? Again, what's the function here? The basic function is to clarify or intensify the other adverb or adverbs in the sentence. Okay? The placement, it's just like when we're modifying adjectives, the adverbs are placed directly in front of or before the other adverbs. So here it's kind of interesting. Sometimes you can have uniquely 2 or even 3 adverbs, or 2 or 3 words, but they act as one powerful unit. Okay? For example, hardly ever or almost hardly ever. So here are some examples. Gable is never late for dinner. Bubbles hardly ever misses a meal. Okay? Gable is always very helpful when we train Bubbles, which is true. Bubbles barks quite playfully at Gable. Gable runs so fast, and his speed impresses little Bubbles. Gable quite faithfully cares for his younger brother, Bubbles. Notice in each case, adverbs add clarity or quality to adjectives, and in the case of modifying adverbs, they add power to other adverbs. The adverbs clarify and strengthen their lexical partners. You can say, for example, Catherine is cheerful, but if she is very happy, it's best to be clear and say, Catherine is extremely cheerful. Now we know just how cheerful she is. Okay, good so far? And it's quiz time! The time that you've all been waiting for. So first we will give you 3 true or false statements about adverb placement. Then we'll give you 3 example sentences and you tell us if they are correct or incorrect. Okay? Showtime! Okay, question number 1. Adverbs usually weaken the adjectives they describe.
False.
False. Good. Okay. Gable is extremely happy to see Bubbles. Just how happy he is, extremely happy. Okay, so it's modifying that adjective. Number 2, adverbs are directly placed in front of the adjectives they modify.
True.
Good. Okay. And an example, Bubbles was very cheerful this morning. Question number 3, adverbs cannot modify other adverbs.
That's false.
False, exactly. Okay. These boys very seldom miss a meal. Okay. And that's what this was all about, was showing how one adverb can modify another adverb. Okay. Okay, here are 3 example sentences, and you tell us if they are correct or incorrect. Okay. Number 1, Bubbles thinks very highly of Gable.
Correct.
Good job. Okay. Now keep in mind, note there that think very highly of is actually one unit. It's an idiom. So that's why the additional adverb actually goes between the main verb and the other adverb. So thinks very highly of. Okay. Number 2, Gable hardly misses ever a meal.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay, very good. There's another example of an adverb phrase, which is hardly ever. So we want to keep that together. So Gable hardly ever misses a meal. Okay. And number 3, Gable and Bubbles are so entirely correct in their analysis of human behavior.
Correct.
Good job. Okay. And there's so entirely, you've got 2 adverbs that come together. Bonus. Let me give you a bonus one. Think about this one. Each moment of life is almost always unbelievably fascinating.
Correct.
Correct. And it is too, right? It is unbelievably fascinating. There you've got 3 adverbs running together. And here's another bonus. The boys are always so very cheerful.
Correct.
Correct. Good job. Okay. Again, 3 of them coming together. So how did you do? 8 out of 8? We bet you did wonderfully well. We hope that this has been a useful and helpful video for you. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like the video. Thank you so much for watching and for participating. Take care, and remember to always carefully mind your adverbs.